The views expressed on this Turnbuckle Tabloid live stream or Turnbuckle Tabloid podcast episode do not reflect the views, thoughts, or opinions of the Rageworks brand, including the Rageworks podcast network, Rageworks content partners, advertisers, and affiliates. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, what's going on? This is your boy Mike Harvey, and we're listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
The great comedian and philosopher George Carlin once said, when purchasing a pet, you're purchasing a small tragedy. In many cases, that is true. But in mine, what happens in between the purchase and the tragedy is probably the best feeling of love, warmth, companionship, connection, and bonding that you could possibly ever have close to having with your child. It was a cold December in 2009, maybe 4 days before Christmas. Sally just turned 2 a couple of months beforehand, and her mother and I were shopping on the shopping district in our neighborhood for any last minute gifts that we were going to give. And we walked past the local pet store. When walking past the pet store, we saw the two sides of the display area, which had puppies on each side. On one side of the play area, we saw a whole, about 7, 8 puppies milling around in the paper, bouncing off each other, playing, drinking water and such. There was one that caught my daughter's mother, caught her eye, and he was this little brown and white, furry, 4-legged boy who was just sitting in the corner looking out the window by himself, not even caring about the playfulness that's happening behind him. Immediately, my daughter's mother looked and pointed her gaze and made a notion to me to take a look at him. For some reason, his eyes were just shining blue. And we looked at each other and she says, let's go see how much is he. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I was out of work. I was on unemployment for some time, and she was barely holding on to the gig that she was working at. But she felt she still had a little bit of money left to hold on. I walked inside and I asked the owner or the manager, whoever it was, I said, hey, the little brown and white one in the corner, what is that? Which one it is? Oh, that's a Boston Terrier. Oh, how much is he? Oh, today we got him for $700. So, I looked at Sally's mom and I said, that's not bad actually, but it's still up to you if you want to buy him. She's like, I want him. I said, so let's do this. I don't want to make an impulse buy. It's an hour till closing time. No one's going to buy him. Let's go home. Let's think about it. And I'll come back tomorrow and I'll get him if you still really want him. She says, okay, go home, sleep on it. That night, to the next day, goddamn police sirens. New York City saw probably one of the worst snowstorms in recent history. My daughter's mother sat there worried. I said, A, I don't think they're opening up the pet store. And B, if they did, someone would be insane to go through the snowstorm to get him. It's ridiculous. So we'll wait another day and I'll make sure to go as early as possible the next day to see if he's there. I remember it was a late Sunday morning. I dressed up warmly and geared up and made my way down to the pet store. Sure enough, the brown and white Boston Terrier was sitting in that corner. All the other pups was sleeping or just mulling around, but he was up, looking out the window, just gazing. And it looked as though he was waiting for something. But the funny thing is, I don't remember him being with brown eyes. It startled me. So I go inside and I asked the pet owner, the store owner, the manager. I said, hey, the Boston that you had the other day, did you sell him? He goes, no, he's out there. I said, no, the one that we saw had blue eyes. And he goes, I don't know, but that's the one he's always been there. So I gave a call to my daughter's mother and I said, yeah, the Boston's there, but he doesn't have blue eyes. He has brown. I don't know what happened there. I said, I don't know if the light shined a certain way, but he has brown eyes. Do you still want him? And she said, yes, I still want him. So after paying for him, getting his initial inoculations and getting the paperwork stuff signed off, they handed him to me and I was like, that's it. You don't give me a box or a carrier. They say, nope, that's how you take him. So I take him and I'm still dealing with snow issues. I just bundled him up inside my jacket, put him inside, zipped him up, kept him warm, carried him inside my jacket. And while walking, or at least trying to find a bus to get home, the little fucker was just farting all the way. By the time I got home and unzipped my coat, it was like a bomb of gas and baby milk, dog food, whatever it was, that just secreted out of my jacket. As soon as he came in and I placed him down on the couch, he didn't yelp, he didn't bark. He just sat on the couch and put his head down and laid there. When Sally first saw him, she instantly fell in love with him. And her mother came out excited. I said, "You're gonna be okay. He doesn't have brown eye. He doesn't have blue eyes. He has brown eyes." She goes, "No, it's fine." And immediately, she had a name for him, and she thought he had blue eyes, so she wanted to name him after her favorite wrestler. But she was already set with the name. So our new arrival to the house, our four-legged son, his name became Alan Jones Nieves. Alan Jones AJ for AJ Styles. As time passed, as I trained him, fed him, walked him, he began to grow on me more than anything because I had already said to myself, I really didn't want to have any pets. I've never had a pet full term. I've always had to give them away, or if any pet I really did have full term, they were like hamsters, like tchotchkes like that, and they really didn't last long. So any dogs or cats that I had to always give them away. And I knew that this one wasn't going to be that kind of situation. I had already had to give a dog away a few years ago because of living conditions. We couldn't bring the dog with us where we were moving to. And this same apartment, after someone else brought a dog in, the landlord was like, no, you could have brought your dog. So I was already hesitant because I was still dealing with that burn. So I did what I did because I've been pretty good at training animals, especially dogs. Little fucker, what he really enjoyed doing was biting on the cable cord. And we would wonder why the fuck the cable was going out. And it was because he was tearing up the cable cord that ran across the apartment. So I had to raise up the cord high above ground and make sure I had a teething ring for him, or anytime he got next to a cord or such, I had to spray him with water. Through the years, I trained him to walk without a leash. Go outside, I will open up the door for him. I will stand on my stoop. I'll sit on my stoop, and he'll run out, go to the nearest tree, near the nearest hydrant, handle his business. I'll go pick it up, and he'll run back into the house. He just wanted to be home. He liked to be home. Sometimes after long walks, you could tell he was just tired, and he was still young, but he just didn't want to be out there. He just wanted to be home. And I remember when we first moved to our other apartment, he got away from me and he ran. And I thought I was going to lose another dog. I thought that I thought I would never see him again. But while chasing him down and running him down, someone yelled, "Hey, that's your dog. He went around here. He's around the corner." He only ran about a block away, but where he ran to an apartment building that would be exactly similar to what the block would be on our old neighborhood, which is only about 4 or 5 blocks away. So he kind of was telling me I wanted to just go back home. He wasn't comfortable with change. And it's funny because the apartment building had the same kind of setup, the stoop in the front, the doorway, and the hydrant. And he sat himself right by the hydrant. I had already knew that there was something about him, but that day, it was something special. Not long after that, I lost him again on walking without a leash, and he just ran home. He bolted. He didn't want to walk anywhere. He just bolted. So I went running, looking for him, but then I said, I know AJ. He's probably by the house. And sure enough, I go by the house, our new apartment. We've only been there a few months, and he was right there waiting for me. AJ, as you guys know on the show, as super engineer AJ. And I called him super engineer AJ because Sully was super producer. And he was my super engineer because you heard him always in the back. You always heard his nails clanking on the floor, or him barking when someone would come in, or him licking on his bowl, drinking water, or eating his food, or him passing in and out of doorways, or even him breathing when I would be recording, and he would rest his head by my arm or by my leg, and he'd just want me to rub him while I was recording. And you would hear him. You hear his breathing. Sometimes his snoring. AJ was there for me and Sally and my mom especially in our toughest of times. When my separation was occurring and finally the breakup happened, it was hard because I knew that my time with Sally would be cut because I wasn't going to see her I would see her every day, but the time would be limited. And I felt that her mom was going to take him. But after packing and her moving her stuff out, she didn't even look at him. And it's funny because he gave her a look like, honestly, like, I'm not going with you. I don't give a fuck what you think. And she walked out with Sally in her hand. And I just slumped in my kitchen crying because it was an end of an era. And some of us can't deal with change, and some of us go through change very difficult. And AJ came to me while I was there on the floor, nudged me with his head, laid next to me, and put his head on my lap while I cried. We then moved a couple of more times, and AJ adjusted. And as you get a little bit older, you start to understand, well, this is where I am. And as long as he had his bed, as long as he had his food, as long as he had us, AJ was comfortable and happy. Until recently. After many years of walking in and up the house, him barking at not only me, but everybody else who came in and out the doorway, AJ just loved to have people around. He loved to bark at them, jump at their lap if he knew you. If he really knew you, he tried to hump that leg. And after some time, AJ started picking up different traits. Like he liked to rip off my sock and look at my toes. Or if he really liked you, and if you were standing there with shorts or something, he'll start licking the back of your knee and such. So every day I would come in, and if I had purchased some pork rinds that morning, he knew already. And he'd be at the door waiting for me to give him his pork rind treat. But of course, I had to pat him on the head, let him know that I'm home. And if I didn't have pork rinds, I had his treats there. One of his favorites was the dental one, where it long and you would think that for a dog like him, he would just take some time with it. No, but he would devour them in minutes. Of course, AJ would love to clear his throat after doing that, so you just hear him like a frog just going off. Then at night, when I was home from work, after many years and after many moves, of course, he gets older and we get older. And, certain things he wasn't able to do anymore. His rambunctious ways of running up and down the stairs slowly diminished to a slow hop or a very cautious pace down the stairs and up. Then after some time, he couldn't even make it up and down the stairs, and carrying him wasn't an option because although I could pick things up, he was house trained, he was home trained, and he really didn't need to go outside as much. I had a balcony, and the balcony would be there for him. The one thing about AJ that was constant with him is that puppy that was at the window always liked to be at the window or outside, looking at other people or looking at other things, looking at the world. And although you brought him out to the world to mingle, such, he didn't really want to be there. He wanted to be home. He just liked to look at the world. This past year, it was tough on him. His health began to decline. Started noticing that he wasn't responding to his name as much. The tricks I taught him, like sit, lay, give me 5, go to your bed. He wasn't really responding to them. I was told that sometimes dogs can become senile, go through Alzheimer's. You notice he was getting cataracts in his eyes and maybe wasn't hearing too clearly. And although I knew he was frightened about that, he just knew we were always around and we always showed him love. Super producer Sally would always check in on him, lay with him. He would always still find a way to, on the nights when I'm sleeping, when I didn't work, just continue with his loud snoring. I get used to it after a while. I could sleep through a buzzsaw, but he just had a particular way of snoring and putting me to sleep. A few months ago, I had to take him to the vet because he wasn't eating well. His urine was coming out in a color that I wasn't used to seeing. And we got him some medication and the doctors cleared him, set him on his way. And after the month of medication, he was fine. About a week and a half ago, AJ became violently ill. He was pooping water and throwing up everywhere. And that happy-go-lucky dog that I knew every time I walked through the door wasn't that happy-go-lucky dog anymore. He barely could walk, couldn't barely stand on his hind legs. He was wasn't eating, he wasn't drinking his water. He wasn't begging for cold cuts when I was making a sandwich or Ma would make a sandwich. He wasn't begging for rib tips or scraps from the Chinese restaurant. He was asleep most of the day, and after I got some medication for him, I thought he would make a turnaround. Then, that one morning, I walk in from work. Super producer Sally tells me that she couldn't sleep because he was crying all night. After trying to soothe his pain, try something with him, I realized that I had to take him to the emergency room. Before I walked out the door, Ma tells me, do you think you want to wake Sally up so she could say goodbye to him because he might not come back? It was one of the points of realization that I thought he might not be coming home. After everyone gave their tearful goodbyes, I jumped in an Uber and rode my way, him wrapped in my bath towel. And as we rode to the emergency room, he just wailed all the way through. And that's when I said, I can't bring him home. My boy, he breathed his last breath at 1:39 p.m. August 3rd, 2023. We had him for almost 14 years. We had him when he was only 2 months old. I bottle fed him. I box trained him. I home trained him. And in the end, I was feeding him baby food and bottle feeding him water. that four-legged boy of mine was a good boy. And he was one through and through until the end. From him watching me clean like if he was my supervisor, to him resting his head, jumping on the bed, jumping on the couch, and nuzzling up next to you as though he was comforting you, not him being comfort. For his last breath, I was comforting him. This one is for my four-legged son, Super Engineer AJ. Thank you. Because of the near 16 years Sally has been on this earth, you were there for almost 14, and you raised her. And you gave me the ability to love again and realize that although I might not be able to go through this again, that if with that glimmer of hope that I possibly will, it's because of you that I know I could possibly open up my heart to someone. You. I love you, my boy. And like Carlin said, when you're purchasing a pet, realize you're purchasing a small tragedy. But remember, in between that tragedy will be great fun, great adventures, and awesome, awesome moments. I love you, my boy, my AJ. When we come back, we'll hopefully be better in spirits, and we have tons to talk about. I'll give you my reviews of my final thoughts of WWE 2K23, as well as just other stuff. I'm sorry. Guys, don't go anywhere. Stick around. We have much to talk about. Talk to you guys in a sec.
Yeah. Could you get the right to book me? Great enough to live the story. Living for the moment, take the biggest shot like Robert Horry. This been planned since Sunday morning. Grandma cooking cornmeal porridge. Been so good I had a halo, but you peeled just like an orange. So it's time to talk about the get back. Had a minor setback. Always been confused by how the rat and niggas set traps. Watch how he get high, don't even need a jetpack. Everybody want me fly, but then complain about the jet lag. By the time you end the race, be in my grave, that's why you dead last. Been by this since Flex was screaming, Cypher don't get gas. Flow retarded, but young niggas don't listen to radio. Dirty dancing with the outsiders, and I ain't Patrick Swayze though. Remember when it took a while for me to write a song? Now I'm going Jesus anytime the mic is on. I'm renting on these beats yet, and still I'm taking the risk. Cause if I'm saying too much, they say it sound like politics. But never mind what they say, I'm caught up in this life, addicted to the music. I just hope I don't abuse it. Never rode a yacht, yet these days I'm steady cruising. Passing gas rappers, but you know I never excuse them. Cause now they motivated by jacking the nigga swag just to see a check. Now it's cool for everyone to never want to be the best. I put my life between the lines like I grew up on that show on PBS. Why y'all move in the wrong direction like a cheating rap. Presidents to represent me. That's what you get. Presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for every presidents to represent me. I'm out for 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 every presidents to represent me. 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 I'm out for presidents to represent me.
Hey, yo, this is the nicheless content creator, D. Janai, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Radio.
Give me a fucking mic! Turnbuckle Tabloid, cutting a promo. This week's cutting a promo where we're going to be doing the before and after of SummerSlam. I had pre-recorded a projection segment, which I thought I would have been able to air it beforehand, but like I said, due to the untimely demise of my four-legged son, I had to hold off on that for a second on the release of the episode. And I have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you that recording. By the way, this was done on the night of his passing. So excuse me, I was going through a little bit of emotions as well as a little bit of libations, if you know what I mean. I was maybe about 2 6-packs deep, possibly 2.5 during this recording. So if I sound a little slurry or a little bit tired or fatigued or whatever, yeah, I was going in. But upon hearing the recording, I have to say that you know what? You guys figure it out. So this is as a recording of my predictions of it, and then afterwards you guys will be hearing me live discussing my thoughts of SummerSlams, the post thoughts of the show. So the card that they have for SummerSlam, I'm surprised because I thought there'd be more, but they only have 8. Probably more beyond booked during the week as of this recording, but gotta tell you that even with that, this fucking card is stacked. Coming off the back, we have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. And I'm waiting for a stipulation to be added to this. Maybe it'll be added on SmackDown as per this recording, but I still take Cody on this. The big story is Cody. Got to take Cody, right? They got to take Cody here. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, and the biggest story is, will they, won't they, will Damian cash in? And you know what? I think Finn gets the new title prestigiously presented this past few months. Seth could take a couple of days off and just have time with his child. And Finn could have a back and forth with Damian. I like this, and I could believe that one way or another, Finn wins this, and then Damian. You know what? In my opinion, Finn wins this. We get Asuka, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca Belair. Asuka walks away with this again. She takes this, but I believe the cash in for the Money in the Bank happens here, and EO fucking cashes in here. I'll take this. We didn't get for the WWE Universal World whatever the fuck they're calling it. Any case, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Jey can't win this. I believe the storyline progresses to where it's just Jimmy comes back and it's a bloodline story. Roman retains. Ricochet and Logan Paul. Who really cares about this? I thought I would, but I found out that I
really didn't, because the buildup sucked, and Ricochet is not really good on putting something over. So if Logan Paul wins, which I believe he will, I'm okay with that. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. This is going to be a great match, but Gunther wins because I need him to beat Honky Tonk Man's record. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. I got the buildup that they did this past week, that I was with the shits. And this is Ronda's supposedly bye-bye, but I wanted to be that Shayna squashes the shit out of her. So I'm taking Shayna Baszler here. And finally, with what I saw with the lineup here, it's the SummerSlam Battle Royal, or the whatever the fuck it is, LA Knight. All right, guys. Other than that, we got much to talk about, or no? If not, I'll see you guys in a sec. Thank you, highly inebriated Jay, for giving us your thoughts on your predictions for SummerSlam 23. Yeah, that was a rough night. Hope you guys understand. Really. Oof. So, as for the results and my predictions, did I nail them? Was I close? We shall see. So, kicking off the night, we had the opening of the card, the curtain jerker, as you may know, and that they say in the business. We had Ricochet versus Logan Paul. Fun match, entertaining match. Not gonna say it's cleanest, but when you want to take the aspect of these two men really meeting for a singles match for the first time, and the build up, which was subpar, but still manageable. And the fact that although talented, Ricochet has as much charisma as a Funko Pop, I have to say, like, the match had its moments, of course. And then the finish, which I was okay with the using of the brass knuckles, but I was just confused on why the referee blinded himself when the punch came. Somebody explain that to me. Logan Paul using the brass knucks, and then we get Logan Paul winning, and I'm not upset with that. He's supposed to be a dastardly kind of asshole, so I was okay with that. We then get Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in a singles match, which, once again, not quite sure what to make of this. The match itself was really good. The chair spot, the steel chair, the steel steps spot allowed by the ref. Even the commentators should have made mention of, like, they're getting away with a lot of stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. The ref is using it at his discretion, but other than that, Cody gets the win here, and with torn shorts and all, Brock takes off his gloves and gives Cody a nice handshake as well as a big hug to show the guy that he's earned his respect. Then we get the 25-man Slim Jim Battle Royale. I'm glad that Slim Jim, they sponsored this, but what was the outcome? Like, what did they get a lifetime supply of Slim Jims? I don't know. Well, LA Knight wins, and what did he exactly win? A battle royal. Oh, okay, I got it. Big shock that Amos came in. He looked strong, and did what a big man's supposed to do. Good job. We didn't get an MMA rules match, style match between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Wasn't the most cleanest of matches. It was actually a shot would look real stiff. It was a high knee in which Shayna took from Ronda. Match was a little bit all over the place. Wasn't the best, but the best did win because I did want Shayna to win, and she won via tap out. Ronda tapped. So that goes to show that Ronda is definitely on her way out and may not be coming back. And I'm happy with that. We didn't get Drew McIntyre versus Gunther for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Don't think that anyone thought that Drew was going to win. I knew they were going to put on a hell of a match. I wish someone would have done a chops clock because they were serving him and they were putting him in. Drew looked like he was pulling back a little bit on some of those chops, but for the most part, it was big beefy men just doing what it is that big beefy men do. Good match for me. Gunther gets the win here, and he will break the Honky Tonk Man's record. We then get Finn Balor versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this was by far, my opinion, maybe the best match of the night. I was very pleased with the outcome here, how it played out, the storytelling, especially towards the end. Both men, I think there should be still a story to tell, but I don't think it's with Seth. I think within the Judgment Day, there is a story that's going to be there, and we shall see this upcoming Raw. If you guys didn't see it, check it out. Damian Priest coming in, and Finn insisting that he assist by using the Money in the Bank in a certain way, but Seth was able to pull out the win here. We then get the women's triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. We got Bianca Belair versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Fun match. I have to say that all three women looked good here. There was a moment in which we did believe that Bianca was injured. I thought that the sell and how they put it together was really good. Very Bryan Daniel-esque at WrestleMania. But they pulled it off well here. In the end, Charlotte is securing the figure 8 lock on an injured Bianca, in which Asuka comes in, sprays the mist, and then we get Bianca as the winner. Then after that, a wounded Bianca is in the ring, and we hear the Money in the Bank holder, Io Sky, make a play to the ring. And what do you know? Io Sky with a huge pop gets the win here. And lastly, for the WWE Universal Championship, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, we have tribal combat between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Long storytelling. I think the crowd was in it. I think they were more embracing the story of it. See, for me, I was getting to that point to where I'm like, I don't think that the story is done, but when you have a match of this magnitude, especially in a pay-per-view, you want to bring the hard hitting. You want to bring the fight. And it ran too long for me. It's like 35 minutes, almost 37 minutes. Shit. Yeah, it ran too long for me. And for a fight like that, I want to see, it's combat. You want to see them really go at it. But Jay had a good showing here. Roman, of course, looked excellent. Of course, we had our extra supporting actors in here. We had Solo Sikoa, and we had of course the returning Jimmy Uso, who made a shocking return, which we are looking to see play out on SmackDown. But you're reigning and defending WWE's undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns retains. So, all in all, SummerSlam was good. I could say that it was a good night. If I'm gonna do a ratings of it, 2.5 stars out of 4, 2.5 out of out of a 4-pack of beer, I'll give it a 2.5. It was cool. It was a fun time. Big shout out to the boys who came through and watched it and came down at our time of need and really showed some support and love to the family. So big shout out to the peoples that came through. And there's not much more I can say about that. But when we return, we have our segment of Heels of the Week, and boy, is this one a doozy. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. Much to talk about. See you guys in a second.
This is James Mattern. You're listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
Oh, we're back again, ladies and gentlemen, for another week's segment of Heels of the Week. In this segment, we bring to you the buffoonery, the nonsense, and the ridiculousness of the quote-unquote bad people of wrestling inside and outside the ring. Coming in at number 3 is Jade Cargill. Why? Why Jade Cargill? Well, Jade Cargill was recently asked on her Twitters or X's now. Is that what it's called? You're putting up an X? God, that's so fucking stupid. Any case, Jade Cargill was recently asked on her postings, her social medias, whether or not will she be returning to AEW because her fans miss her. And she replied, not anytime soon. She went also to go in depth into saying that she's enjoying her time outside of wrestling. And and I'm paraphrasing here, a fan asked, why are you not coming back when it was wrestling AEW wrestling in a nutshell who made you the star that you are? In which she mentions, it says that she was a star beforehand, and it was because of her that Shaquille O'Neal did the AEW spot. Who knew of you before this? My dear, I only knew of you because of AEW. After her streak of 60-0 ended by Chris Statlander, it was said that she'd be taking some time off. Taking time off. When the fuck does she really work? She only worked fucking 60 matches in a 3-year span. What's that? Almost what? A match and a half a month if we're doing the math? If that? Jesus. But said she was taking some time off and put up the quote that says, Life is good. I'm so thankful. Oh, Cargill. Obscurity is a very lonely place. You better hope that those good looks of yours will be able to transition over elsewhere, because WWE is not going to want you. Hey, there might be some openings on Impact, right? In second place. Oh, wait, hold on. AEW. But this time, is Tony Khan? Is this his doings? Seems as though that Bret Hart recently said on his podcast, well, on someone's podcast, actually, not his, but on someone's podcast, that he asked AEW to help. If they needed anything, he could do some helping, some agent work, some possible booking and such. And AEW turned him down, stating that, no, we're fine, but we could bring you in for managerial work. managerial work for Bret Hart. One of probably the greatest minds in wrestling history. Family lineage. And, I mean, anybody would want to go under that learning tree, right? I mean, it's a jump. It's a layup, right? Yeah. But no, we'll bring you in as a manager. In case as many of you may or may not know, Bret was much well versed in ring as a wrestler for his physical attributes, as opposed to his promo work. He wasn't really the most charismatic individual on the mic. But with that being said, wouldn't you want him to come in and be the guy who helps to bring some knowledge and some wisdom to your up and coming indie wrestlers who may or may not have had, I don't know, maybe 2 years of wrestling under their belt legitimately? But what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone from New York City who just talks shit to about 300, 400 people every episode. Even Stevie Wonder could have seen that would have been a fucking good gig for Bret to just go in there and possibly get into that Dusty role. But what do we know? And in the number one spot, finishing in first place, the artist formerly known as Charlie Caruso, WWE announcer, known as now as Charlie Arnott. Charlie Arnott is now with some conservative, I don't know. She's just, this woman has sold her soul to the right wing. This woman at one time was pro LGBTQIA plus. There was some alludings that she may have been gay at one point, but the Outkick reporter who leaves ESPN, who left ESPN not too long ago, made some startling remarks about the recently hospital transported son of LeBron James. Bronny James was placed in cardiac arrest and due to a workout regimen at USC. As of this recording, he's fine. He's back home. He's slowly but surely progressing. But Charlie Arnott alluded to that maybe it was because of the vax that he fell ill. You know, this whole conspiracy that the vax is killing our kids. Charlie. For this, I have to cut off the music for a sec because you really have gone real deep into the right wing waters, and it's getting real deep for you, real deep. Because she has mentioned that once someone asked her, like, what happened to you? This wasn't the type of person you were. She mentioned, I always felt this way about the vaccines because I couldn't speak about it. I guess she's talking about WWE and ESPN didn't allow her to say anything about it, but what do they give a shit? And why would you even fucking care to mention anything about it? Now I'm free to talk about it. So Charlie, let me just give you a small inkling of what's going on with our kids these days. We're seeing some rate of our children having heart ailments and such, enlarged hearts, especially with athletes, because of the high intensity workout that they're given these days. Long gone are the days of what we used to just have our athletes who were, just take steroids and smoke cigarettes and drink. Yeah, because, that's a healthy regimen because, they just end up dying maybe around 50, 55 years of age. No, this day and age, our kids are on different workout regimens. They have actually more stress factors as well. Well, you may not know this, but Bronny James is the son of LeBron James. So pretty much everything that kid does is under a microscope. And I think that that could add a little stress to a person's lifestyle, don't you think? Well, because, Sharif O'Neal, whose father is Shaquille O'Neal's, he too had a cardiac event. And this was prior to the vax. Ever heard of Reggie Lewis? Yeah, he was a star athlete as well. Was going to play for the Boston Celtics, and he had a cardiac event as well and passed away. He died. Oh, Hank Gathers, yeah, he too. He died from cardiac arrest as well. Young individuals, it tends to happen. People do tend to have enlarged hearts, athletic hearts. It does occur. It's like when DeMar Hamlin took a shot in his chest while playing in the National Football League on live TV with a helmet from an individual who was going at a highly elevated speed. Some may even equate to you going chest first into a, steering wheel at a high speed. Yeah, he had a cardiac event as well, but they also alluded to it because being of the vax. None of you people are doctors. None of you people are scientists. None of you have even played doctors or scientists on TV. And for the most part, many of you who have these questions, thoughts, opinions, don't even investigate them fully. Many of you guys just love to stir up the pot because maybe, just maybe, certain areas of news media draws a little money than others and draws a little bit more attention. So this is why we say, how do we say in my neck of the woods? Talking out of your ass. So the artist formerly known as Charlie Caruso, Charlie or not, you are the leading and foremost defending heel of the week. I need to go get the shot again. This is gonna be my fourth shot.
What's up, everybody? It's Brad Williams, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
So before I let you guys go, I wanted to leave you with one story that I didn't tell about my four-legged son, our boy, super engineer AJ. And this is a story that not many people know about. This is one that happened to us some time back, and it basically gave me a realization of how important life is, but also those of a pet, as well as not knowing that small, maybe possible miracles or instances of life-saving events can occur without you even knowing. So we were living in our old apartment. This is 2 apartments ago. I'll tell you, we've moved around our neighborhood like gypsies. I've been in like 5 or 6 apartments in the last 20 years. So we were at our one of our older apartments, and this apartment was huge. It was a big apartment, and we had the whole 3rd floor. With that, AJ would still always want to be beside me, especially when I was sleeping. At this time, AJ was able to jump on the bed. He could sleep next to me on the bed. I believe I had just started, or if not, I've been maybe a year or and a half in from working overnights. So during the mornings until the about 2:30 in the afternoon, I would be sleeping, and I would wake up to go pick up super producer Sally from school. On this day, I came in. I was extremely tired, and I just told my mother, I said, "Listen, I'm gonna crash. Just be sure I get up at about about 2:00. Now, we had in the far end of our apartment, which would be where the living room and the studio and the kitchen would be at. We had a window that was there, and then that window would be it would be gated because it was also a fire escape. So for some time, that gate wouldn't close. It wouldn't latch properly. We didn't worry about it too much because we were like, hey, we always kept the windows closed and such. So we didn't really have much to worry about if anybody was breaking in and such. And we've always had a pretty tight knit community where not much burglaries were occurring around that time. So I go to sleep, and maybe around 12:45, 12:50, AJ just starts barking ridiculously. I mean, out of control. I was used to that because of him barking, because usually he would bark when someone would ring the alarm or someone would knock on the door. That was something that was a constant that he did all the time. So at this point in time, I believed someone for downstairs in the other apartment or the other apartments, or B, it was a delivery. And if there was a delivery, they'll just leave it in the doorway. So I wasn't really too concerned with it. But for some reason, he was barking really, really loud and a lot. Like he was going insane. But he didn't leave the bed. He usually, if it was like someone at the door or knocking or the bell, he would run to it. But for this reason, he was on the bed with me, and he just kept barking really, really loud and continuously. And also, he added a growl to it, which I hardly ever heard him do. Like it was like he usually would, roar, 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 but this was roar, 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 and it was like a deep, deep growl. So I'm like, I woke up quickly. I noticed that I heard him. I go, hey, you all right? And he just kept going. Rrr. So I was, okay, maybe it's a package. And I go back to sleep. I wake up, go pick up Sally, come back, go on my laptop. And I noticed that my laptop was missing. I used to leave my laptop either in the studio area, which would be the dining room area, or I would leave it on my kitchen countertop. And I noticed that it was missing. Just as I was saying that, I get a knock on the door, and it was from my neighbors downstairs. And she was alerting me that there was break-ins that occurred during that day, on the same day. And she was wondering if anything was missing. So I said, I'm actually looking for my laptop. And just then a police officer came and asked me questions. You said you're missing a laptop. And I said, yeah, I usually would put it here. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking around, maybe if I put it in a room. He says, where would you live? So I told him where it was. So he immediately went to the kitchen. He went to the window. He says, is this window usually open? And when I saw the window was wide open, there shouldn't have been any reason why that window was wide open, because we never left that window open. And then I noticed that the gate was open. And I said, holy shit. So the police came, took a report. And that evening, a detective came by. And he was asking me questions. And he said, well, we were noticing that it was a bunch of brass ring. He says, let me show you something. So he showed me a video of the intruders going into one building, going down one roof, going up one roof, going back up that roof, going to go towards our roof. But my landlord always kept that door locked, with the roof door locked. They couldn't get in through there. So they went their way down through the fire escape. There's no showing of them as a point of entry going into my apartment. But detectives would lead to believe that that's what happened, and they came in, and he had asked me, was there anything else missing? So I said no. So he's looking around. I have my studio equipment. I have 2 TVs. I have all my video game systems. I have another desktop computer for I was doing my studio, and Sully's works, schoolwork stuff. And he's like, wow. And the only thing was taken was a laptop. And I said, yeah. At this time, AJ comes out of the room because AJ was sleeping at the time. And he looks at AJ. He goes, you have a dog. I go, yeah, it's my boy. And he goes, oh, where was the dog during the time of the possible break-in? And I'm going, I don't even know what the time of the break-in was. He goes, oh, let me check something. So he looks, and he notices, he says, well, they started breaking into the apartments about 12:30. And I started thinking, I was like, holy shit. And he looked at me and he goes, why, what happened? I says, well, my dog started really going crazy around 12:40, 12:45-ish, because he had woken me up. And I thought I was getting up to go to pick up my daughter from school, and it was still early. He goes, really? And I go, yeah. I said, but the funny thing was my mother would have been around, and she's going blind, so she wouldn't have noticed anything. So he goes, He says, go ask your mother what she was doing around that time of thing. So I go to Ma, and I says, I asked her what time, what was she doing during that time? And she says she was in the shower. She was in the tub during that time. So I was like, oh, did you hear AJ barking when you was in the tub? She goes, yeah, I remember. He was. She says, I thought it was for a package, or somebody was ringing the bell, but I was in the tub. I wasn't going to get up. And, I said, but did he sound different to you? She goes, yeah, he was a little bit more louder. He actually growled more. And the cop looked at me and he says, your dog might have actually just saved you guys' lives without even knowing it, because you don't know if those people were armed. You don't know if they would have saw your mother and would have been startled, and what they could have done to her, or what could have done to you because you were sleeping. From what we know, they made their exit. The only camera view we have of them is leaving out the street. So what they did was since they knew they couldn't come out of the roof, they heard the dog, weren't able to grab anything, and ran right out of the building. And that's when I realized that AJ, who sat at that window, waiting and watching, may have been put with us for a reason. Because he was waiting and watching for us all the time. And on that note, I may not be able to come to grips with possibly having another pet again. But I hope that doesn't stop you guys from, if you didn't have one, to go out and share your love for a 4-legged or 3-legged or 2-legged, because, there's some animals out there who need your attention, even though they're not fully developed. There are some that are out there who are of high of age, who were left stranded and abandoned because of unruly or for no reason, circumstance, and they need you. So, if you guys do have the space, the time, the care, and the heart to do that, I recommend that you guys go out there and adopt a pet. I know it's cute to get yourself a newborn puppy and such like that, but we have our older pets out there that do need your love, attention, and your comfort, especially in their later years, because you wouldn't want to be alone in your later years as well. So maybe you want to do that and share that for a pet out there or an animal out there as well. So I would highly suggest you do that. And on that note, make sure you check us out on all the social media outlets, Turnbuckle Tabloid. Check us out on the Like and Group page, and check us out on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams, on the Twitters, the X's, TikTok, Spotify, everywhere. And as well as on RageWorksNetwork.com and RageWorks.net. And for my family, I thank you guys for listening. And for my four-legged son, AJ, know that daddy loves you. He will always love you. And I just can't wait for you to come back home, meeting your ashes, because I think it'll make the healing process easier for us. And on that note, I love you guys. Check you guys later.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Turnbuckle Tabloid,